next bit of news. I don't know if you all saw the video, but NadeShot was talking about the gaming community and how they want games to fail. Now, I've been talking about this for a while. We're in a very weird state, chat. We're in a very weird state where there is a certain community that no matter what game comes out, and it's not just now. I mean, it's definitely more amplified now because now they have things like DEI and everything is woke and LGBTQ community. They have a lot of more things to latch on to. It's been like this for a while. With like those SA channels. I know the Ethos has mentioned this before. Those people who feed off of negativity, and it seems like they don't like anything. I'm like, damn, like, why do you even play video games if like every hot game that comes out, you find something wrong with it, and like you clickbait your titles, and you bring this rage bait to your audience, and they latch on to whatever you say. You bring in like this, you bring on an emotion that people shouldn't have, but because they want to see what you're going to say, they end up believing it. Like it's a sort of mind control, to be honest. It's sort of mind control with a lot of those SA channels that you can tell, like they seem to not like anything. So it's been going on for a while, but like I said, it's been really amplified this year because you have other things to latch on to. So Nate has obviously seen it, and he had this to say about it.
There's something weird that has happened in the gaming community. I'm serious too when I say this. For some reason, everybody in the gaming community they want games to fail. It's very bizarre. Like, the whole thing with XDefiant is still, like, stumps me to this day. People complain about not having enough games to play, but when new games come out, even before they have played it, they're like, that game sucks, I'm not going to play it. Listen, man, if we keep tearing down these studios trying to make good games, like, yeah, not every single one is going to be fun, and not every single one is going to be a hit. But if we're sitting here, like, preying on its downfall before the game even comes out, what do you think's going to happen? Nobody's going to be investing in gaming and making new games. And you're not going to have shit to fucking play. You're going to be sitting here playing MW2 Remastered Edition. You're going to be sitting here trying to play fucking the same old games for the 1,000th time because these billionaires and fucking multi-billion-dollar publishers, they're not gonna greenlight any new games, any new concepts, any new IP. I mean, I try to put myself in the shoes of myself when I was like 16 years old, but I can't. I was excited for new games when they came out. The problem is now we have too many options. We've seen too many different games. We've seen too many different ways to interact with games. Like, back in the day, bro, in 2007, when Halo 3, Gears of War 1, and Call of Duty Modern Warfare dropped the same fucking year.
That's crazy, though. I just want to stop there. I didn't even, like, he brought that back up. That 2007, boy. 2007 was a crazy year. I didn't even realize that all three of those games came out the same year. I didn't even realize that. Like, that's insane. Those are 3 bangers, bro. Those are 3 bangers, and I played every single one, and I enjoyed every single one of those games. Man, what a time. What a time.
Bro, we were lined up outside of GameStops, whether it was in a mall or attached to a fucking Hollywood video.
Hell yeah.
Sitting there waiting, camped out, drinking fucking Mountain Dew, waiting for these new games for the midnight release. Everybody was so excited about it. Now when new games come out, we're fucking sitting around a goddamn fire witch artifact, like doing a satanic ritual for the game to fail miserably. I don't really get it.
I say I agree. I agree with Nate, like 100% here. Like, why are people like this? Why are you praying for any game or any game studio to fail before the game even comes out? Now, I want to say this. I'm more of a realist. Like, when we talk about games all the time, especially on the pod, and I can tell when a game is not going to do well, and it's not really because of other factors. I can sense now, like, if I'm going to invest a lot of time into it, then I can see, the game kind of, lasting a little longer. But if I can just see the trajectory that it is, and I'm like, man, like the game may have an interesting concept, an innovative concept, but I don't think that the masses are going to catch on to it. That's a different story. That's not me saying that I'm hoping and praying for the game to fail. That's me analyzing the game, and it's like, I just don't think that game is going to last. It doesn't mean that it's a bad game. I just don't see it lasting until the test of time, because a lot of these games are live service games at that. So, and we have too many live service games out. So I already know what the juggernauts are. So what are you doing that's going to truly break into that mold, into that pot that's already there? It's not saying that the game is bad. I'm just being a realist on if you're going to survive. So I don't want any game to fail. I want all the games to do great. It's just, again, he brought this up, like we have way too many options now, and we have way too many ways to interact with games. And the games that have already broken that mold and already have, millions upon millions of dollars and so many people invested into it, and you've been around for 5+ years, those games are going to continue to go. What are you going to do to divert people's attention from a game they've been playing 5+ years and play something brand new? These are mostly about the multiplayer and live service games. So I'm sure that's probably mostly what he's talking about. But even other games, single player games, a lot of people just see those and they're like, oh, well, this isn't like God of War. This isn't like, one of my favorite games, so I'm not even going to play it. I'm going to find something wrong with it. Like, what is your problem? Like, why are you wanting these games to do bad? It doesn't make any sense. Why are you not willing to at least give these games a chance before you hate on it? That's what we're saying. Like, I feel like, again, people's, way too many people have things to say, and it's unfortunate. Like, there should be I don't know what the true metric is or what the true benchmark is for like people to like give credible opinion, but a lot of people just don't have credibility. A lot of people just I feel like I wish a lot of people would just be speaking into the void, but they're not. Like, it's always the person who has the weirdest opinion that ends up getting amplified the most. And it's weird, like, and it's usually filled with negativity. Usually the positive comments and people saying positive about whatever that whatever bit of media, those don't get the most amplification. But a person saying, hey man, this fucking game is trash, man, I looked at that trailer and it was a bunch of bullshit, like those are people who get the most interactions, whether it's good or bad. I mean, from other people who agree with them or people who disagree. But a lot of people just talking about it, and I'm just like, why are those the people who always get freaking amplified? Man, what up, Dart? There are plenty of games you don't really have interest in. Yeah, and that's fine. Like, people and that's the great thing about it. Like, it's a double-edged sword. Like, yes, there are too many games to play and too many games that'll take your time away from other things. But at the same time, there's a game for everybody. There's a game for everybody. So for you to sit up here and just not like anything, and you just like the old game, you still playing freaking GTA, you're playing Minecraft. You're playing every Call of Duty that comes out. You're playing 2K. You're playing Fortnite. Like, you're still playing the same games. That's what T-Base keep talking about. Like, 60% of people still playing the same 10 games. And I'm like, damn, like, y'all can't really even call yourself a gamer, in my opinion. Like, damn, you're still playing the same stuff. You're a gamer. You're not really not a real gamer. You're just a hardcore gamer for a couple of titles every year. But you're not really getting out here. And I don't feel like those people really should have a credible opinion about anything new that's coming out, because we know you're not gonna play it anyways. We know you're not gonna play it anyways. You're just hating just to hate because it's a hot thing to talk about. But you had no interest of playing it. You're hating on it before the game even comes out. Why are you praying for these games to fail? That makes literally no sense. So, like I said, I agree with NadeShot. Including he sees it here. Clearly he sees it here, and it's a problem. It's a problem. Like, I'm not saying that people praying for games to fail is the reason why these games do fail and why these studios are closing, because it's not all on them. I'm not going to say that I don't think the general person on Twitter has that much power, but if enough people do speak up, yes, they can influence how a game ends up being received when it comes out. I do agree with that. And YouTubers, especially the prominent ones who have an audience already, yes, they can influence how a game ends up being received. And yes, they could have a little bit of power on whether if it's a smaller studio when this is their first game, and then after their first game they end up going belly up and end up having to shut down the studio. We're just in a bad economy, so I can't, again, just blame it on the people saying stuff. But But I mean, it can influence it. Like I say, it can influence, you know, how a game is received whenever it released. So I don't understand. I don't understand why people just being so weird about games. I don't see people doing this as much in other forms of media, but you know, a lot of people are doing this about video games. I'm just like, why, man? Like, just literally makes no sense at all, man. No sense at all. Like I said, they're latching on to other than anything that has a black person in it or a minority in it. You know, that's a problem. Anything that has somebody LGBTQ community, that's a problem. Anything that has a girl in it who's a main character, that's a problem. Well, what is y'all issue? What is y'all issue? You gonna play the game or not? And if you're not gonna play the game, shut the fuck up. Like, why are you even talking? Why are you even talking? So, like I said, it's super weird, man. It's super weird. Super weird times. And speaking of, actually, let me pull up this week because I talked about it. Where the go to my account. This one, so we talked about. Where are you at? This one here. So this person, which again, I feel like he'd be rage baiting too. Like I've seen this account multiple times. I feel like he's rage baiting. But here's another one that we're pulling up assets or reuse assets, and I just find this hilarious that this is from an Ubisoft game. This is about Assassin's Creed. I'm like, out of all the studios and all the games you could choose, like you chose Ubisoft. Like, do we not know that Ubisoft does this all the time? Do we not know that Ubisoft does this all the time? I'm like, okay, we're talking about the jump. We're talking about a jump and reusing assets. And this got so many impressions, 2.8 million impressions over this 1 second video. And we're talking about a jump. Like, really? Like, how do you feel about this, man? How do you feel about Ubisoft reusing jump assets? Shut up. The Ubisoft form. Exactly, Anubis. What up? I'm like, really? Yeah, it's a God of War boat. Remember Horizon? Y'all remember Horizon when they talked about how Aloy jumped down? I'm like, really? Are y'all serious? Are y'all serious right now? This is just wild, man. Like, we're talking about reuse assets. Like, this is again another example of people nitpicking. Now, whether this person truly feels, you know, like that or not, even though he was in the comments, it sounded like he was pretty perturbed about this. It's pretty perturbed about this, but I'm like, really, we're finding something to complain about, to not like something. This is exactly what we're talking about. Perfect segue, right? Perfect segue. I don't care about this. He said I didn't like Mirage. Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of Mirage either, to be honest. Like, I'm just like, I said here, I was like, here we go again. Crazy that this got so many engagement. Well, this is about Ubisoft of all companies that's being talked about. Like, did we forget about Far Cry Primal? Do y'all remember Far Cry Primal? They used an entire map from another Far Cry game. I'm like, come on, man, this is an Ubisoft formula. I love Ubisoft. You know, don't take me out the program, but I'm like, y'all done this before. So, like, is this surprising? No, this is not surprising at all. Like, if only y'all knew about game development. I can't wait for Ethos to talk about this. If only y'all knew about game development. Of course, Ubisoft, with all of the games that they have in their stable, yes, they're going to reuse assets. They're going to reuse assets from other games. It doesn't just have to be Assassin's Creed with this one. They're going to reuse assets from other games and implement it into their new titles. Who cares? The only thing that I feel like was a little weird with Far Cry Primal, I'm like, damn, y'all use the same map. I don't know what was going on with that. Far Cry Primal was one of the worst Far Cries anyway. We don't need to talk about that. That's like the game that should not be named. But come on, man, like this, just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. Need to bring back pre-origins parkour. It's at one of I know I said what. Come on, Far Cry Primal was by far the worst, though. Far Cry Primal was by far the worst. Come on, we got to agree on that one, right? We got to agree on that one. The Far Cry 4, I like Far Cry 4. I ain't gonna lie. I like Far Cry 4. Far Cry 5 was like kind of a snooze fest. I ain't even beat it. But that New Dawn up there, man, don't be hating on New Dawn. I like love it. 6 with me. Yeah, 6 was a. Six would definitely. I like 4. I like 4. Just a little bit. So I don't know, man. But yeah, we're back on this. We're just finding ways to hate on things. I don't understand. I do not understand, chat. But here we are. That's what game you played was Valhalla. I like Valhalla, but it's just way too long. A lot of people didn't like Valhalla, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. So, anyways, last bit of news here because we've been rambling on for a lot, but for a while. But we got some good conversations here. Little tidbit. Epic Games announced that Fortnite is returning to iOS in the EU. Their store will undercut Apple with lower fee. Do we care about this? I mean, we're not in the EU, but do we care about this? As you know, Epic Games and Apple have been in an ongoing battle over this. And in this article, let me actually pull this one up. Epic Game Store. So there's a new Epic Game Store, and they're bringing back Fortnite to iPhone. You said FU. Epic and Apple have a long-standing rivalry which started over the Apple Store's high fees. However, the new EU rules have now allow Fortnite, the Fortnite maker, to launch its own app market. So the Epic Game Store will only offer Epic games, including Fortnite, for now. The company says it also plans to start onboarding third-party developers game beginning in December of this year. Epic will make Fortnite available for download on both the new iPhone version of the Epic Game Store and through the Alt Store PAL, which is another third-party app store. The app market is also launching today for Android users worldwide. European iPhone owners and global Android users will also be able to download Epic's Rocket League Sideswipe, a new title, a mobile version of Fall Guys, from the Epic Games Store. Tim Sweeney held the arrival of Epic Games Store to iOS as the way to fix the largely broken mobile gaming industry. Competition wouldn't crush Apple's App Store. It will force Apple to compete with better prices and with better features and better promotion and better marketing deals and less advertising. Clearly, Tim Sweeney is still on his petty mode. He's still on his petty mode. I find that statement very, very hilarious. What up, Tony? Epic says its App Store will take a maximum 12% commission on sales, undercutting Apple's App Store, which fees can reach up to 30%. So, just so y'all learn to know, man, we're not done here, but they about to stick it to the they about to stick it to Apple over there in Europe, at least. They about to stick it to Apple over there in Europe. So we'll see. We'll see. I don't know if I don't know how many people are playing Fortnite on mobile. I wonder what that demographic looks like. But hey, if you want to play it over there, and you have an Apple device, and you can download the Epic Game Store app and go ahead and download it. Go ahead and download it.